Hey guys, so we're going to start lesson 5. This is all about graphing ratio tables. This starts on page 47 and goes all the way to page 53. The essential question again for chapter 1 is how do you use equivalent rates in the real world? There are two goals for this lesson. The first one is to graph ordered pairs or ratios. You'll see why I said that in just a moment. Goal number 2 is to use tables and graphs to compare ratios. Okay. Vocabulary, there's quite a few vocabulary words this lesson. There's coordinate plane, origin, x-axis, y-axis. And please remind you again, if you're going to write when you write the definitions, please use the definitions from the book. Okay? You have the idea of ordered pair, x-coordinate, y-coordinate, and graph. Okay? So the first goal of graphing an ordered pair, this is review time. You have two numbers. You have an x-coordinate and a y-coordinate. X, Y, just like in the alphabet, X, Y. Pair tells you that you need two numbers. That should be a giveaway right there. And the way I remember, it's ordered because, again, X, Y. So this is the X, Y ordered pair, right? And just to remind you, the x-coordinate goes with the numbers on the x-axis. The y-coordinate goes with the numbers on the y-axis. Okay? Again, this should be a review. If it's new to you, just keep in mind, x, y, it goes in order, okay? Now, I went ahead and drew a graph real fast. You have a y-axis, and I numbered it 1 through 6. Have an x-axis, 1 through 6. Just keep in mind the horizontal x-axis is a horizontal line. It goes from left to right, right to left. The y-axis is a vertical line that goes up and down. And right here, this little 0 is where both lines intersect. They make a perpendicular line, and it's called the origin. Always start here. Now, the first thing I gave you, the coordinate just review, was 3, 6, right? So, here's the deal. 3, 6. You start at the origin, and all you do is count. Now, ordered pair, you start with the x line first. Always. Always x line first. Okay? So 0, you go to 3. 1, 2, 3. That's the x, right? Just to review what I just did. The x-coordinate tells you you're either going to go left or right. In this case, we're going right. Don't worry, when we get to negative numbers, you'll have to go to the left, but we're not there yet. So, 1, 2, 3. Then the y-coordinate was 6. You're going to go up 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And you draw your dot right there. There's your coordinate pair. I'm going to go ahead and write the coordinates. Okay. And again, this is the x-coordinate. This is the y-coordinate. Now, if you do it the other way around, let's say you say, well, the order doesn't matter. I'm going to do 6, 3. 6, 3. It ends up being here, and it's in the wrong place. Order matters. X line first, Y line next, okay? X-axis first, Y-axis next. All right. So, what are we doing with this graph? What's the connection with ratios? So, the goal here, the point, is to use the graph, coordinate plane. I'm trying to think, what is it called? Just had a momentary brain of forgetfulness. I don't know, that didn't make sense anyways. The graph, use the coordinate plane to display the ratio. You are going to visually display the relationship. Okay? Again, ratios. We're still doing ratios. Just now we're going to use a graph to show it, to show the relationship between the ratios, or ratio, depending on what you're looking at, okay? This is going to be a lot of work. All right. If you go to the got it's on page 48, letter A, let's see what we have. Here we go. I'll just read it to you. I'll show it to you. And yes, the answer is there, but let me just block it for just a moment. The table shows Gloria's earnings for 1, 2, and 3 hours. The table also lists the information as ordered pairs, hours to earnings. Okay. All right. Here's the deal. For a moment, forget the graph. This is still ratios. What are we comparing? What to what? Okay? So I'm going to write this as a ratio table first because we just did it. I want you to see the transition from one to the other. All right. We're comparing hours to earnings. I'm going to use pencil just to make sure I don't goof this up. Now, do you have to do the ratio table? I want to say yes, unless you're really sure of what you're doing. But since you're just learning this, it might be in your best interest just to follow along with here. Okay. According to the table, we have in 1 hour, she makes $5. In 2 hours, she makes 10. In 3 hours, she makes 15. Okay, all of these are equivalent ratios. We already talked about in the last lesson. I'm not going to do dots. You understand? You just keep counting 1 plus 1, plus 1, plus 5, plus 5. Okay, so you get this. Okay? I hope you do. And I'm going to fix this because I don't like it. It looks like it said house, when it's really hours. Hour, and then R, S. Hours to earnings. So there's your ratio table. So you know this. The only thing they did was they changed it into a different kind of table. Okay? They got more fancy with it, but here, we'll break this down. We're talking about Gloria and her earnings and that's basically what she makes. And it says hours. Why I wrote an X, I do not know. Hours, which will be the X coordinate. Earnings, which will be the Y coordinate, right? And then together as an ordered pair of X, Y. Okay, you just write what you wrote. 1 hour, $5. 2 hours, $10. $3, 15. As an ordered pair, 1, 5, 2, 10, 3, 15. Now don't worry, on the quiz, you will fill in the table, but just since we're barely starting out, I'm giving you all the information you need. The goal now is to graph this. Okay? You have to graph this. Now, how do you graph this? All right. Let's flip this over. How do you graph the ratio table? Is really what you're asking. How do you graph the ratio table? That's a fair question. All right. First thing you do, you draw the axis. Draw the x-axis, y-axis. First, draw the x-axis and y-axis. Okay. If you are worried about drawing straight lines, by all means get a ruler. I'm not going to worry about it. I'm just going to do the best I can with this. Okay, and label it. Please label it. Label the axis. It's too easy to go too fast and goof up the x for the y or the y for the x. All right. Draw the x-axis and y-axis. Add the 0. Okay. Look at the x coordinates. Again, just to remind you, you don't have to do this, but again, it might be nice x-axis, x-coordinates, and label them. If you look at the previous example, what did we have? We had 1, 2, and 3, right? 1, 2, 3. But also, the x-axis represents what? The x-axis represents hours. So again, I'll put that here. Label what axis represents. All right. So there we go. 1, 2, 3. And I'm just going to make it a little darker. All right, now we have the y-axis. And the y-axis represents what? What does it represent? Money, earnings. It is a lot of work. I will grant you that. It is a lot of work. But once you get the hang of it, it's not as bad as it looks, okay? Now, I know the book doesn't have you do as much work as I'm doing you right now, or showing you right now, but you kind of have to. Now look, let's review again. Hours, earnings, 1 5, 2 10, 3 15ths. Okay, so it goes from to 15, right? So somehow or another, I have to get to 15. Let's see. That's as far as it's going to go. Now, from here to here, I could draw a little 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6. You know, I can just do little tick marks, 1, 2, 3. Or I can count by groups. Groups of 2, groups of 3, groups of 4, etc., etc. Okay? So, I could try 3. Let's see, 3, 6, 9, 12, 15. That could work. If you notice I'm doing it in pencil, I'm not finalizing it. So I could put the 15 right up here. I can do count by 5s, 5, 10, 15. It's whatever you think works best, but you know, that's too short. I think you need more. Yeah, you know what? I'm going to go with the original. What I said was 3. You can even count by 2 if you want. 2, 4, 6, 8. But you only have a limited amount of space, so you have to use groupings that work for you. Okay, basically I just skip counted, so here we go. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15. Okay. I'm going to highlight that too, because why not? All right. The first coordinate, again, if you notice, I stopped labeling what I should do next. Look at the x-coordinates and label them. Did that. And what was the third thing we did here? We did that. Yes, yes, yes. And really, what else is left? I think we just let's review here. We drew the x-axis and the y-axis. Yes, check. We look at the x-coordinates and labeled them. Yes. I guess I should put down. Look at y coordinates. You know, I'm just showing you one way of doing it. This is my way. You find the way that works for you, okay? And we labeled it. We said this is earnings. This is hours. Part of me wants to highlight this too. Why not? You know what? My notes. That's the thing with your notes. You can do whatever you want to do with them. Label them however you want to do it. It's up to you. But anyways, First one was after 1 hour, she makes $5. So 5 is going to be somewhere there, right? Más o menos, more or less. After 2 hours, she makes $10. So close to 9 somewhere. After 3 hours, she makes 15. Okay, that's going to look a little weird, but that's okay. So here we have 1, 5, 2, 10, 3, 15. And just a quick review, you already predicted that when you did the ratio tables. Right? Here's your ratio table. You changed it to an ordered pair kind of table. You already wrote them down. Now you just had to graph them. Right? So that was the last thing we did then. We graphed the coordinates. All right. Now, I just want you to realize something. I kind of went fast, and that's okay. But I'm going to review. I started at 0. I know the first one is 1, 5. So I always start with the left, the coordinate, x. I always start with the x-axis. I count to the right, 1. Then it says you have to go up 5. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I don't have a 5 there, but I know it's right below 6. It has to be right. And so x-axis first, then y-axis. Ordered pair. X-axis first, y-axis next. So let me put that here so you don't forget. X-axis first, y-axis second. Or you could also say x-coordinate first. I'll even write that down. Y-coordinate second. Okay, and excuse my sloppy writing, but I think you get the idea. So, x-axis first. 1, 5. That's done. 2, 10. 3, 15. By the way, it might help if you do that. Actually, physically do it with your fingers. Just right? And sometimes you'll do this or down. But it's always x first, y next. Okay? And so what does this show? Now look at this is a graph. You just graphed it. What does this show? Seriously, what does it show? What do we see with Gloria and her money? It's not a trick question. Think about it. Is the line going up or is the line going down? If we start 0 here and we're going in this direction, I'd say it's going up, right? It looks like it's going up. So if it's going up in terms of money, guess what? It means you're making more money. Now, I'll write this question on the side. What do you see? Because that'll be a question on the quiz, kind of. What do you see? I see that Gloria earns more money the more she works. And there might be a better way to say that. I see that she gets $5 more per hour. Right? I mean, look at it. 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, 5, 10, 15. She gets $5 more per hour. Okay? And that really is what it is. We're using a graph. Let me just review. Right back. Don't worry. We're almost done here. We're using this to show the ratio table in a visual way. So you can see the relationship and then explain what's going on. Now, of course, you could see here, hey, she's making more money. But sometimes people don't like to look at numbers. This is kind of pretty, actually. It's really easy to see. Oh, I see what's going on. She's getting more money the more time. The more time she spends, the more time she works, the more money she gets. And that really is a summary right there. All right. That is I just did, believe it or not, the got it's A and B. This would be the got it letter B. Letter B we just did when you explain what you just saw. And I already told you the first one was graphing this, right? And then actually, this would be A. I apologize. You graph the ordered pair. Oh, you can't see what I did. You graph the ordered pairs, and you explained what it looks like. You explained what you saw. It's all about relationships. What's the relationship between hours and money? The relationship is the more you work, the more you get paid. Right? Pretty basic. All right. Goal number 2. Goal number 2. Now, you already see graph paper is not necessarily necessary. But if you really want to do that, that's fine. All right. Now, the goal number 2 in the book, it says compare ratios. But how? You're going to compare ratios using graphs. Right? So, one thing you need to understand. The steeper the line, the greater the ratio. Okay? Actually, let me put that way around. Let me put the other way around. The greater the ratio, the steeper the line. Now, of course, you might be asking, well, what does that mean? Let's go back to basics. I want to review something with you. The word steep. You've seen this before, steep. All right. So, let me just draw a line like this. Here's the ground. You're going to climb up a hill. Again, I'm going to draw a little stick figure. Okay. This would be, well, steep. Let's draw something that's steeper. Again, here's my little stick figure. Okay, maybe I'm going overboard with the steepest, but you know what? Steepest. Here's my little stick figure. Here's the ground. Oh dear God! It's like you almost have to. Now it's a mountain. All right. So steep, steeper, steepest. The angle that you have to climb gets higher. Okay? It's harder. It goes up faster. Okay? If that makes sense. You'll see what's going on. Which one's higher? Steep, steeper, steepest. Now, you might want to write to yourself, and I'll even give you the question. You write your own explanation. What do you notice about steepness? Write your own answer. Write something that'll help you remember the idea of the concept of steep, what it means. Okay? So, this is page 49. Example 3. All right. Two friends are making scrapbooks. Renee places 4 photos on each page of her scrapbook. Gina places 6 photos on each page of her scrapbook. It took me a while to read that correctly. So far, from what I understand, we were talking about 2 people, Renee and Gina. Renee does 4 photos per page, photographs. Gina does 6 photographs per page. Okay, I got that. All right, again, let's make a ratio table first. Now, do we have to? No, we don't have to, but I just want you to slowly work in this. I'm going to change it to a ratio table, see what's going on. Okay? So we're talking about Renee and her ratio table. We're talking about pages per photo. Right? Although it sounds better to say photos per pages, but that's the way the book set it up. We'll go with what the book does, just for now. Right? So for every one page, she does this many photos. Right? Well, that sounds better when I say it like that. Right? So here's the thing, that actually brings up a good point. When you do math, make sure you say things or write things down that make sense to you. All right? So here's my ratio table. Okay, now I'm going to use pencil. Okay, according to what I just read, for every one page, Renee does 4 photos. 2 pages, 8. 3 pages, 12. And 4 pages, 16. Again, I'm just making simple ratio tables based on what I read. Let me read it again. Make a table for each scrapbook that shows the total number of photos placed if each book has 1, 2, 3, or 4 pages. Okay? Pages and photos. Pages and photos. Gina has, well, for every page she does 6. 2 pages, 12 photos. 3 pages, 18. 4 pages, 24. Now, I could draw dots, but I think most of you did really well on the other lesson. It's just ratio tables again. You've done this before. These are all equivalent ratios. They show the relationship of 1 to 4. Right? This is twice, this is 3 times, and so forth. Anyways. Now we're going to change them into something we can graph. Okay? Now, what I'm going to do a brand new page, because I know by the time I finish this table, I won't have space for the graph, and I want you to see everything together. Okay? So, if you still have space and you draw very small, you're fine. No worries. But I kind of have to write big. And believe me, I used to write smaller when I was younger. All right, so we have Renee again. Renee. And we have Gina. All right. We're talking about pages. And we're talking about photos. All right. Maybe I'm writing too big. And then XY. It just looks weird, doesn't it? Okay. That's okay. You know what? 1, 2, 3, 4. She does 4, 8, 12, 16. As ordered pairs, it is 1, 4, 2, 8, 3, 12, 4, 16. Seriously, all I did was, again, I took my ratio table, 1, 4, 2, 8, 3, 12, 4, 6. Why pages first? Because according to the book, pages is X first. Pages is X, so you'd write that first, and then XY, right? Photos is Y. XY. 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 8, 12, 16. 1 4th, 2, 8, 3, 12, 4 16ths. Okay, then we have Gina. I hope I can make this fit. Make this little pages. 1, 2, 3, 4. This will be X. Photos. 6, 12, 18, 24. And then this would be the Y. And then together, XY. 1, 6, 2, 12, 3, 18, 4, 24. Again, X. I was going to highlight everything, but let's not go crazy here. XY. Okay. This could be the fun part. This could be the scary part. I'll let you decide. I just wanted to confirm something. Yep, I did it right. We went from ratio table. Just want to review. Don't want to go too far. We made the ratio table. Pages to photos. Pages to photos. You've done this last lesson. I think you guys get it. Right? It's in the table there too. I didn't have to do the ratio table, but I wanted you to see the connection to the other lesson. You're taking a ratio table. You're setting it up as ordered pairs. Right? The things you're comparing, pages to photos. You're making them into a coordinate pair, and now you're going to graph them so you can see something. All right, let's go back to what we just did. All right, I already said first thing you should do is draw the x-axis and the y-axis. This is the x-axis. This is the y-axis. There's my 0, the origin. All right, and the x-axis represents pages. Okay, pages. Now, I realize some of you want to go real fast. If you go too fast, you will make mistakes. I mean, you see me as I'm doing this. I'm not going even that fast, and I'm making mistakes. So take your time. There is no race. So, x-axis, y-axis. X-axis, x-axis, pages. Now, do you have to highlight everything? No, of course not. But it's nice to make things stand out. Okay. The x-axis is pretty same. It goes from 1 to 4. 1 to 4. That's pretty easy. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 page, 2 pages. Oh, can't see what I just did. What I did was, I looked at this. It goes from 1 to 4. I went 1 to 4. I spaced it out. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Now I look at the x-axis. Here I go from 4 to 16. But here I go from 6 to 24. Oof. Okay. So my highest number is going to be 24. Ooh. You have choices here. Sometimes you have to go from 0 to 24. You're going to have to decide how you want to group this. How do you want to skip count this? Do you want to go by 2s, by 4s, by 6s, by 8s? All right. Here it's going by 4. 4 plus 4 plus 4 plus 4. And here's by 6s. All right. You know what? I'm going to try and go by 4. See if that works. Okay. And again. So let's just do this. Let's do this right. Four, 8, 12, 16, 20. Okay, it works. I just had to space it out a little better. That works. Okay. So maybe 20 here. And then 16 here. And then 12 here. And then 8 there. Okay, this might look a little cheapy, but you know what? It's fine. It's not going to be perfect. It doesn't have to be. All right. Let's go with what we have. For Renee, let's choose a color for Renee. Renee is purple. Gina is blue. All right. Nope, you can't see what I just did. There you go. Renee is is purple, and Gina is blue. All right, let's see what we have here. I'm going to do it in pencil in case I have to erase. For Renee, the first one is 1, 4. Start at the origin. Okay, 1, go 1, 4. 2, 8. 3, 12. 4, 16. Okay, now I'm just going to highlight. Okay, so that's Renee. I just took this. 1, 4, 2, 8, 3, 12, 4, 16. 1, 4. Again, start at the origin. 1, 4, 1, 4. 1, 2, 2, 8. 3, 12, 4, 16. All right, Renee is done. Now let's look at Gina. According to Gina, and I'll do this in pencil first, Gina is 1/6. Okay, 6 is in between 4 and 8. 2, 12. Oh, 12 is right there. Okay, we can do that one. 3, 18. 3, 1, 2, 3, 18, 18, 18, somewhere between 16 and 20. And then 4, 24. Oof, okay. Now I'm going to highlight that. Okay. You don't have to connect the lines if you don't want to, but I want you to see something. I want you to see a line that actually forms. Okay? Because this would be the question, right? Who has the steeper line? Right? What do these lines show? Well, for Renee, let's see. The more pages she puts down, the more photos she puts in. So you're going to see the number of photos increase. So more pages, more photos. I think that's true for both of them. More pages, more photos. I hope you can see that. Let me explain it again in case you can't. I'm noticing that the more pages I add, if I add 5 pages, chances are it'll be 20. I'll have to add 20 and so forth, right? 6 will be 24. 7 will be 28, right? Because the pattern. Plus 1, plus 1, plus 1, plus 4, plus 4, plus 4, right? I mean, you can even see it here. 4 plus 4, plus 4, plus 4. And Gina, it's the same thing. More pages, more photos. But here's my question. Which line is steeper? Which line has a bigger angle? Which line, if I had to walk across, which one would hurt more? Because, I'm kind of old here. It looks like to me Gina's line is steeper. So I'm going to write this question, which line is steeper? And really, I should have written this in the Cornell side of it, the left side of it, but I forgot. Whoops. So you know what? I'm going to write the question for this one here. What do the lines show? More pages, more photos. But which line is steeper? It looks to me like Gina's line is steeper. Right? But what does that mean? So, Gina's line is steeper. That means Gina's ratio of pages to photos is greater. Uh-oh. But what does a greater ratio mean? It means Gina will have more photos than Renee. And I don't know why I wrote that. It should be then, not that. Okay. So look. Here's the deal. The ratio here, 4:1. For every 4 photos, 1 page. And Gina's is 6:1. It could make sense. You should be able to see that the more pages you put down, you get more photos, but it looks like Gina's going to get way more photos than Renee. And you can see that here in a picture. The steeper the line, the greater the ratio. All right. So this is lesson 5, guys. This is it. So let me review, and then we'll call it quits. I know this lecture almost took 40 minutes. A little more now. Compare ratios using graphs. The greater the ratio, the steeper the line. So for yourself, define what steep means. But what we're doing is we're taking ratio tables that you already know how to do and set up, changing it into an XY coordinate kind of format, right? XY, XY. And then you're graphing that. And then you're telling me what you see. What do you understand? Okay? And you tell me which line is steeper. What does that mean if it's steeper? Okay? So, anyways, I think that's it. Thank you, guys.